The title is, I remember I wrote this 26 years ago, and I haven't read it since. So I hope that I agree with myself. So far the 40-year-old love doctor's been doing all right. But anyway, we're going to see if we still like that. So the title is Don't Fool Yourself. Now, I don't even remember what this one's about. But here goes. It never ceases to fail. Every time one of my loyal readers meets the love doctor in person, he or she has something on their minds that they must share with me at that very moment. It's like too much to ask that they spend a few minutes, an envelope and a stamp and mail their problem to the paper, so I might consider it at my leisure. So yeah, I was writing for a paper. People they didn't mail stuff. Just like we don't like folk to call up on the show. They wouldn't mail you stuff. But no, they meet the love doctor, and I have to stop whatever I'm doing and right off the top of my head generate the proper sympathetic wisdom with which they might improve their situation. Such was the case last week when a very confused young woman availed herself of the love doctor's inordinate gift of understanding. I'm telling you, the 40-year-old love doctor was kind of, like the old folks say, full of himself. So here we go. She needed help to decide her next steps in one of those long-term, on-again, off-again relationships. I'm really proud of my willingness to put my personal life on hold as I share my gift with the less fortunate. However, periodically I am humbled by the fact that there are times when I'm unable to get the horse to drink, even though I've led it to a suitable place to quench its thirst. My dad used to always say that. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Like many others who find themselves mired in such misery, this lady suffers because she had refused to face facts and make some decisions about herself, her lover, and their situations. It became evident to me after only a few minutes of conversation and observation that I was in the company of one of those people who prefer to live in emotional confusion rather than confront the reality of their love life. She's not rare. There are a lot of people, male and female, who would rather than face the fact that they are involved in a nothing relationship will let themselves continue to believe that their situation is unique and that there is hope for improvement in their long-term, on-again, off-again relationship with a partner who shares no such ideas. They prefer to live the delusion of an imaginary commitment rather than face the evidence that indicates that their involvement is nothing but a good time. You know, the kind of plaything, playmate. I need you when I'm with you. Think of you when I see you. What do you expect from me kind of relationship? These are not what I call relationships, actually. There's no commitment, one to the other, only a conveniently understood pre-approval and expectation for having a little fun in the sack. No plans for a joint future, no desire to accommodate the needs of the other, just fun. Quite often, both people in these involvements will delude themselves into believing that they, quote, have somebody, that they are in love with the other, and that the other loves them. In this way, they can allow themselves to enjoy the pleasures of love without feeling like they're being used or being a user. It's a mind game that lets you feel all right about whatever you are doing in the name of love. The key to understanding this type of false relationship is to ask the question of commitment. It is certainly true that simply dating a person does not comprise marriage or any promise for the future. However, when love is supposedly involved and emotions begin to run deep, we are no longer talking about just dating. At this point in the relationship, it's time for decisions to be made. It's no wonder that this is the point where many relationships disintegrate and fall apart. It's a classic situation. There is the acknowledgement of love and the desire for a future with the other, on one side of a couple, but on the other side is still just having fun with no pleasure or desire for a deeper commitment. At this point, when both people have high self-esteem, generally there's an agreement not to see each other anymore. Quite often, the separation causes uncommitted partners to miss their water and realize that they also have fallen in love. Actually, even when the relationship ends at this point, it can be a good thing, because at least then both people can move on with minimum wasted time and emotional damage from their encounter with one another. Sometimes it happens that a relationship will fail to mature, and because of low self-esteem on the part of one of the partners, there will be no decision to move on. In order to fool themselves into feeling like they, quote, have somebody, sometimes people of low self-esteem will allow themselves to be used and manipulated while they delude themselves into thinking that someone loves them. The other half of the couple may benefit far more than the one partner who suffers from a similar need to delude themselves. If you find yourself unable to ask for a commitment from a person you're involved with, watch out. You might be fooling yourself into believing something so that you can feel worthy of someone's love. And you ought to just stop it. Get your act together. Do what you need to do so that you can feel good about yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, I deserve someone who's going to treat me right. If that fool doesn't love me, then he or she is missing out. Just remember, it's better to be between possibilities than to be stuck with a dead end. Do you want some water to drink? Ooh, I had forgotten about that piece. Hey, David, Jasper, Marvin, Adrienne, thanks for tuning in on Facebook. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of folk who, I guess they keep talking themselves into the idea that they got somebody, and they really don't. The other person doesn't feel like they're in any kind of committed long-term relationship. They just, it's a booty call. You know, it's convenient. It's, let's get it on. So, stop. So stop fooling yourself. And something like that. And right now, it's about time for me to take a break because I don't want to expound too much. Then when I come back, we're not going to have anything to talk about. It's, I Don't Know How to Say Goodbye by Philip Manuel, and that's what we're going to listen to when we go out on this break. And because we're trying to help folk, local artists, and expose their music so that, there we go. And this is a beautiful piece, and I'm not going to speak over it. I'm going to let you enjoy it. Hey, Michael.
I know how to build buildings that reach into the sky. I can't explain the evolution of a butterfly. I know how to sing a melody that stops a baby's cry. But I don't know how to say goodbye. Goodbye.
Yeah, I see Clint joined us, and Michael Holland, and Arjan Brown. Thanks for being on board.
Together with the sun. And I know that you can't win a race. Oh, you don't run. Gotta run, yeah. I know how to tell the difference between the simple and sublime. But I don't know how to say, ooh, baby, can't say, yeah. Goodbye. Can't bring myself to say those words. Goodbye. No. I can't do anything. Can't say it, baby. Can't say it. You're like a drug to my system. Ooh, a hunger deep down inside. When I think of all I'll be missing, ooh, makes me wanna break down and cry.
Yeah, it's Philip Manuel. I don't know how to say goodbye. And you can get it on Amazon.com. 99 cents. Philip Manuel. I don't know how to say goodbye.
It's so good to me, darling. We make it so good, so good, so good. I can't scale the highest mountain, swim the deepest sea, but I can't see the sea. Ooh, I can't say it, darling, can't say it, no. Good.
Yeah. I don't know how to say goodbye. Philip Manuel.
What's that look about?
Gotten some really great feedback from the Facebook crowd. On they liked the piece. Had one guy say he wished he would listen to me 25 years ago. His life would be further along. People, I'm telling you, people fool themselves into thinking that something's going someplace, and lots of times they really just kind of, it's like a figment of their imagination. That makes sense. They really have no reason and no reasonable reason to expect what they expected. But, you know, because nobody made any promise to them. You know, there wasn't somebody saying, you know, this, that, or the other. It was, nobody said, you know, we're going to get married one day. Nobody said anything like that. But they just kind of fooled themselves into this, well, it's going to happen. It's you know, I'm fooling. I got somebody. That's my baby. Ain't your baby. It's a dude that rubs his sticks against your sticks, and y'all make fire every now and then. You know, your feel good against his feel good, and y'all make fire every now and then. So, you know, you gotta look in the mirror. If there's some reason that you're not feeling good enough about yourself to demand more for yourself, you know, you got some work to do. But staying in a relationship that's going nowhere and just fooling yourself, you're really setting yourself up for a fall. And when you fall, you're gonna get mad at somebody. And really, you got no reason to be mad at somebody, because they never promised you anything in the first place. You just let somebody, you just went along for a ride without asking where it was going. And the reason you didn't ask where it was going was because you didn't want them to walk away. You didn't want them to feel like you had expectations or you had standards. And maybe if you would have spoke up, they might have got mad and walked away. Or went someplace else, more likely just went someplace else where the pickings easy as you are. Yeah, I said it. Some of y'all easy pickings. Yeah, I said that. Some of y'all just looking for somebody to come along and lead you on. Because you want, you just, fantasy world's good enough for you. Just I'm not mad at you. I'm not judging. I just know it happens. I know people like that. And every now and then their life kind of crashes as a result, and they lots of times keep doing the same thing over and over again. Hook up with somebody who really doesn't care to have any kind of ongoing long range commitment, but in your mind you think that's where it's going. And you don't confront the situation because you don't want it to end because the other person says, no, that's not what I had in mind, and then it's time to move on. See, because if you ever ask the question, you got to deal with the answer. And that's what people are avoiding. They don't ask the question. They just make it in their own mind. They just, yes, that's how it is. It's going to be like that. Yeah, it's going to be like that. It's we got to do better than that. And the reason I wrote this piece is not so you feel bad about a relationship that you're in or feel bad about what you're doing or what you have been doing. It's to try and help you get to a point where you just face the realities of life and deal with that. Deal with that. I tell you, if you need self-esteem, go out, learn Spanish. Go out and learn anything new. Go accomplish something that helps you feel good about yourself. Go start an exercise program. Get in shape. For yourself. For yourself. Not for your looks, for yourself. And when you accomplish something, you feel better about yourself. And when you feel better about yourself, you feel like you deserve good. And you won't put up with relations. Not even put up. I'm not even saying put up with it because the person's not doing you anything. You alone. Y'all just y'all in the same car, but y'all going. You think it's a long ride, and they just like till they get to the bus stop, to the corner. They just want to ride to the corner. You want to ride around the world, but you didn't ask them that. So when you get to the corner and they like, see you later, you feel like you lost something, but you really didn't lose anything because you didn't have it in the first place. So is that kind of clear? Is that clear? Everybody kind of clear? So that's the piece wrote 26 years ago, and I gotta admit, I still agree with the 40-year-old love doctor. He did it again. He was a little full of himself, did you? Y'all caught that? Y'all caught? Look. He said, but no, they meet the love doctor, and I have to stop whatever I'm doing and right off the top of my head. Oh, I can't believe I wrote that. I would never write anything. Hey, Kimberly, how you doing, babe? I would never write anything like that today. I would be much more diplomatic and and smooth and stuff like that. But anyway, that's the column for the week. That's the topic for the week. Don't fool yourself. Just don't fool yourself about the relationship that you're in. You know, if you just want to have a rubbing, warm, fuzzy together relationship, that's grown folk have a right to do that. I still think those things end up usually with somebody getting their heart broke. Because one thing I learned about love and falling in love, and I think I wrote a piece about this, is if you hang out with somebody who is physically attractive to you long enough, you're going to develop those feelings. And I say those feelings because, you know, to me, love is a conscious decision how you go treat somebody. But what we call falling in love is actually falling in lust. In other words, we have a yearning for somebody. We still feel like we just need. It's biological. It's your hormone stuff. There was an experiment that proved it. So they did brain scans on women, and I feel probably the same for men. They did brain scans on women when they were looking at photographs of either their child or their lover. And the critical thinking parts of the brain shut down. In other words, once you have those feelings, you don't think right anymore. Love really is blind. Once you get those feelings, you don't process information correctly about that person anymore. So it's important. I always say, get the credit check before you get the woozy feeling. Anyway, listen, I think we ought to take a break now. And we're going to take a break. And again, you're listening to Philip Manuels. I don't know how to say goodbye. And we'll be back with round about. Boy, we were busy this week. All right, we're back. You're listening to Lloyd Dennis, the Love Doctor Show on WBOK, 1230 AM online, WBOK1230am.com, and Facebook Live at my Lloyd Dennis profile page. Welcome back to the show. Boy, that's a nice song, huh? Yes, indeed. I'm on a Sunday kind of love, a real one that lasts past the weekend. Yep. She must have read the column. That's what we were talking about today. People who got a Saturday kind of love. That's the ones that we were talking about today. Welcome back to the show. And I was telling the Facebook audience that we and I balled out of control this week. And it started off for me, it started off Tuesday. I left the show Tuesday. I went home, got me a little nap, and came back out in the street. Went over to like my favorite jazz club, the Prime Example. Tuesday nights they have this set. They used to call it the Sidemen Plus One. I don't know what they calling it, something else now, but it's a group of established musicians, and they get together and they play some really good music. It used to be like all the jam session, but they had been putting together some complicated, very rehearsed performances. So it's a good set. If you got folks in town on a Tuesday night and you want them to experience some New Orleans music or some of what New Orleans has to offer in music, I highly suggest going over to the Prime. It's usually, if any cover, it's usually very low cover charge. Anyway, so went there Tuesday. Didn't go anywhere Wednesday. Stayed home Wednesday. And Thursday we got out. My son had a friend in elementary school. They went to elementary school who was a musical genius, Sam. I don't remember Sam, but anyway, he and this young woman, Alexis, he called himself Alexis and the Samurai. And what's this club? Anyway, we went hear them. That was Thursday night, kind of early Thursday. And man, so now this is a young white kid, but He's like one who's play like 4 things at the same time and does all of it well. Then picks up a violin But what I really appreciated about their set was it wasn't a ripoff of like doing African American music. It wasn't that kind of thing. They were doing music that was really based on the Cajun culture, but they did it like in a modern genre, and it was good stuff. It was really, really good stuff. They were very, very talented. We enjoyed that. Then Friday, we finally had a chance to go catch Les Chetrix at Bamboula's, and boy, this dude, he's a real deal, y'all. Like blues, all that old New Orleans music. He's a hell of a guitar player. And we did get him to play Purple Rain that night. He was so glad that we came out to see him and support. He played Purple Rain, and what was really funny is they had they had some like younger people in all this. Les is about my age, and they expected the old New Orleans stuff. They expected the blues and stuff like that. When the dude broke out in Purple Rain and played that solo like he can play it, the people went crazy in there. And so he sees that right now. Anyway, so we enjoyed that. And then we stayed, and they had this young sister named Sierra who came in and sang and tore it up. But Jazz, I had to go fix the sound. And when I went up there to talk to the guy closest to the board was the sax player. And I told him, I said, man, y'all got it sounding like mud. You got to give a little bit more on the top and give a little bit more on the bottom. Right now it was all mid-range, look, and it was blowing it up. You know how it sounds? And so he did that, and I said, I don't hate to interfere. He said, mister, I'm so glad you came up here. He said, because the sound man didn't show up. So thank you so much. But Jad, I will walk up to the sound man, and I mean, you just got to cuss me out. Because if the sound's not right, you got to do something about it. Actually, Blue and I went to the Mayor's Ball, courtesy of Metro Enterprises, Jimmy Woods and his bride Regina. So, and we go to that pretty much every year. And the OJs were there. Before the OJs, Stephanie Jordan was there, and I had to go. What's interesting to me though is the sound. They had the sound perfect for the OJs. They must have had a full sound. Stephanie, I had to run in the back and get the dude to fix up her sound. Had her sounding like she was no bottom, no middle. Like she was singing through a tin can. Anyway, had a ball. Now, what you got to know about my boo, some of you on Facebook already saw it. When my boo is any place where you can approach the stage, like and there's stars on stage, she gonna be in the front row. Now, and she leaves me. But she gonna be in the front row. But I have learned over the years that if they play a slow song, I have to work my way through the crowd and get that dance on right there. So we were dancing, right? Eddie LeVert was sweating on us, and we were singing Stairway to Heaven. And we just had a grand time, me and my boo. So that was Saturday night. And Sunday evening, we were over at the Four Columns with Michael Baptiste, the New Orleans Mystics. They were playing with Clark Knighton's 4x4 Connection Band at what they call it Smooth Jazz Sundays. About once a month they do that. Bam, off the chain. It was a great show. They sang the Stylistics. They did a little more town, but they did like the other male groups. They did some OJs, and great. They got the moves and all that stuff. We really had a great time. So, we balling out of control. And so really, this weekend coming up, I think we're going to go over to LaRue's Friday and check out Rochelle Cook. I think she's there Friday, either her or Big Frank and Lil Frank. But I got to tell y'all this So folks on Facebook know that I ordered another electric bike for my wife. It came, it's orange. So we call it Naranja, and because I'm learning Spanish. And the other bike, the bike that I had originally, we call Electra Blue. And some people call it just blue for short, right? And so, well, the box that the Naranja came in was kind of busted up. And the keys must have fell out. So here we got the bike sitting there, no keys. I'm talking to the people. And they said, Mr. Dennis, we can get you another lock and a set of keys if you don't mind changing. I don't mind because, I got skills, right? And so 3 weeks, I have a caller? We're taking a call? Oh, okay. We'll take the call then. Hello, caller?
Hey, my brother. This brother Al Mims.
How you doing, Al?
Thank you for all the stuff that you do, bro. And I don't want to go from A to Z, but you do a great job, bro. And you always put your lady first. And that, without my lady, I wouldn't know what I'd do, bro. The New Orleans Mystics, I got brothers, cousins. And,
yes, indeed.
And Michael Baptiste, Lee Barnes, and Billy Mims. Those are my family, bro. And
that's your people?
That's my people.
Oh, bro, you miss a hell of a show.
I was a fighter,
Yeah, I got you.
But I just want you to know, bro, what you do, I thank you for what you do, bro. Taking our community, challenging our community, and being an example.
Thanks for what you do, man.
Just want you to know, bro, you're real. Your worship is real. Your solution. Now, everybody don't like our solution. That means you got to get involved.
You got to get involved, bro.
Yeah, because my children and the kids I be with, we brought about 30, 40, 50 kids to see Black Panther, and some, a guy pulled in front of me, and I started to say, "Oh, you mother," and I said, "Hey, man, hey, God bless you." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you're with those kids, bro, they make us better. So I just want you to know, bro.
While you're on the line, I want to share this with people. There was an article in the New York Times yesterday about this extensive research that basically says that the reason that we have issues with black boys is that there are no fathers, no men in those communities. And it's not that the kids need their own father. It's that they just have to be some examples in the community. And the young people are growing up in communities where there's just very few examples. And so the work that we do, that's why we do the work that we do. And the thing about the article was it proved that the way and what we're doing with the Silverback Society and the work that you're doing working with kids in community is the only solution.
Come on, Kimmy.
It's the only solution. In other words, nothing else can change the outlook and the trajectories for these kids other than being around and being exposed to black men who have succeeded in, this racist society. But we did it anyway. We did what we had to do. And that's the only solution.
And let me tell you, my brother, we spend our Saturdays and holidays, and our wives don't matter. Don't worry about it. She did like it. And, the Father's Roundtable, the Silverbacks, our foundation, the Son of Saints, and I name men. There are men that's doing, and then we got the girls with us now. So we raising a future generation of solutions, man. So I want to thank you, bro, because my heart goes out when I hear you. I want to tell you how much I love you, man.
It's a mutual admiration society. But the thing that gets me is people want to have a better city. But they want somebody else to make it better.
Somebody else to do the work, bro.
Right. They want somebody else to make it better. If you got to be part of the solution.
Come on, bro.
Nobody's pulling this wagon for you. We have to all yoke up and pull. And if we all yoke up and pull together, I'm addressing the city council. I think it's tomorrow morning.
Okay.
And what I'm telling the Youth Services Committee, and what I'm telling them is, let's double down for one generation.
Yes.
And if we get these children to achieve anything in life,
Yes.
their children gonna be all right.
Yes.
Because what we have is a generation that didn't make it, raising the next generation that didn't make it. And I'm not blaming them. It's been going on so long. It's because they live in communities and then there's nobody else there. And so it's become normal. Children don't even think that they should have more than they got. They think that living in the hood is how we're supposed to live.
That's it. And I want to thank you, bro. I'll say this again. God bless you, man. And if anything I could ever do, I got your back. But they say no greater love than a brother laying his life. Hey, man, you give your life, and you are an example. And you ain't asked nobody to do nothing that you ain't doing. I'd rather see a sermon, and people talk a whole lot of stuff, but you're an action person. So you have a great day. Hear my brother?
Thank you, Al. And I want to point something out. I make it a point to let people know that I enjoy my life.
Yes.
I'm not, my life is not sad. My life, the work that we do is serious. You know, I'm dead serious when we do this work, but I understand that I'm supposed to enjoy my life. I feel good about myself. And so when we get out and my wife and I, my wife and I are supposed to have fun together.
Yes.
That's how life is supposed to be.
Right.
And it really is. So when you do good, you feel good. And when you live right, you feel right.
I love you, man. Have
a
great one, bro.
And we got to get out of here. Jazz put the music on. And so we going home. Yes, indeed. That's, I don't know how to say goodbye by Philip Manuel. And you can go to Amazon.com and buy it right now. See y'all next week. Listen, I got to get out of here. I'm going to talk over it this time. Just remember, love is an action word. And the minimum action is that you think about how what you do impacts the people that you say you love. So if that's not going on, somebody's just dead rate. They're along for the ride, seeing what they can get out the deal. So I hope you show up for class next week. Next week's column, you're going to love this, is Under the Sheets. Oh, yeah, that's what we're going to talk about. Hope you show up for class next week. And if you learned something from the Love Doctor this evening, please try it at home. See y'all next week.
Goodbye.